Welcome to the February 12th Planning Commission meeting. Roll call.
Hema, absent. Johnson,
Here.
Gesme,
Here.
Fox,
Here.
Nobach. Here.
Can I get the approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Johnson, second by Fox. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can I get approval of the minutes from January 8th?
It's one of your turn.
Move to accept movements from January 8th.
Second.
Moved by Fox, second by Nobach to approve the minutes of January 8th. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. There's no one here for public input tonight, so we'll just move down to, well, we have two public hearings. The first public hearing is for a conditional use permit for cars under 10K LLC. Zach, you want to give us a background on that before I open the hearing?
Yeah, for sure. Good evening, guys. The two items tonight don't require as detailed of an introduction, given that they were discussed at our last meeting, but starting with the CUP to operate a used car dealership at 1720 Highway 20. This agenda item is pretty straightforward. Commercial businesses are allowed via a conditional use permit to operate in the residential business zone. The applicant has provided the city with all the applicable forms, payment, so the last step is just planning commission approval and then city council approval. We're just kind of going through the proper steps here with this. A used car dealership used to operate at that same location before moving, but since there's new owners, a new permit has to be set in place. I just want to add too that the business owners are leasing the property, they're not buying it, so, but that's the background on that.
Okay. Okay, with that in mind, I'm going to open up the public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak? Second call. Anybody wishing to speak? And third call. Anybody wishing to speak? I will close the public hearing. Should we discuss that, or should we just go to the other public hearing and then discuss? Okay, well, why don't we just discuss this and get this out of the way, and then we'll move on to the next public hearing. Commission, any comments?
I, of course, have one. You got to look up when you ask for comments, Steve.
Well, I was just waiting to hear,
Oh, okay.
because I knew it was coming from over here.
In looking at the lot up there, and I think there's somewhere in our zoning that we're supposed to have everything paved. And it looks like at one point it might have kind of been paved, but I'm wondering if this would be a good opportunity to require not first the company leasing, but the owner to pave that prior to allowing the lease. And if they need help, maybe they can go to the EDA, who's supposed to help our businesses.
So you don't think it's paved now?
Oh, I know it's not. I just drove up there, Steve. I mean, it looks like the concrete in front of the building is in good, fairly reasonable shape. That does not look like it's in good shape to me. That's broken up concrete, and that's basically gravel, sand, if anybody wants to see. But, you know, it's one of those things where as long as, like, Hinkle has their unpaved thing that's been that way prior to the zoning or the ordinance, they get to keep it. But when there's transition, I thought that's when it gave us the opportunity to say, now it should be brought up to code.
Is there actually transition of property, I guess? I mean, I get that they're leasing it, but yeah. Yeah.
It's two leases,
Yeah.
and that's, I think, what you're talking about, when there's a transition of property, it's a sale. It's a sale if the transition is to be done. This guy that's looking for this conditional use has got nothing to do with the blacktopping, I understand, but what we're talking about tonight is a conditional use permit for a car dealership that's leasing the property.
But it doesn't mean we can't require that it be up to what the zoning requires, codes the city ordinance.
We would have to
require.
check that out.
I know it's not a sale of the property, however, it is a new business coming in. And used cars can leak.
I would, I don't know if I would caution against it, I guess. I'm just kind of unsure about that property history. I think it used to be that old gas station, right? And if you're going to start digging up, I would assume to pave it, you'd probably have to dig up that sub-base, and then there's some issues there with potentially contaminated soils and stuff like that too. I don't know, you're probably going down a wormhole, I think, unless, just for a lease of a business, I think maybe what you're saying, I would probably support that with the change of property, but I think right now I guess that's just a side point. I think there's probably a worthwhile investment there, I guess, to just pave it potentially, so.
So you're saying you will not approve it without resurfacing the lot?
I think you just put words into my mouth. I brought it up as an opportunity for us to bring a lot up to compliance with the current codes in the city. And I agree with Kurt that we're probably looking at contaminated soil from all the gas company that was
Yeah.
there all those years. But at some point, these things need to be dealt with, and the current owner could just keep releasing it for the next 100 years. But whatever. It always is a costly process, and it doesn't get cheaper when you wait. But because I'm assuming the new business probably was not going to be able to foot the bill.
Well, I think it would be a deterrent to anybody going in there if we required them to resurface it. Is what I'm thinking.
How long has the current owner owned the land?
Oh, boy. Not sure. Any other comments?
I'm curious about the double entrance there. I don't have any issues with it. I'm just surprised just knowing the way that would be a county highway, right?
That's a state highway.
Is it state highway? Okay, yeah. I'm surprised that nobody's come across, and maybe that goes with transfer ownership too. I'm surprised nobody's gone in with one single entrance there, but I don't know. Nothing to do with this, I guess.
I know in the past, that last dealer always had one entrance blocked,
Okay,
so you couldn't only get in.
yeah. And the only reason I bring that up is just because under K here, that subdivision K, it says vehicular entrances to parking or service areas shall create minimum of conflict with through traffic movement. Just something to point out, I guess, but I don't think it's it's operated that way for X number of years, or it's been that way, and there hasn't been any issues.
I think with entrances, anytime you talk about a state highway, you hang on to the entrances you got,
Yeah.
because once they close them,
Yeah.
they're gone forever.
Yeah.
And I can see the length of this property, I can see that maybe someday being split and both them entrances being used at that time. I see there's one up towards the top too, but I could see where that could get used if they ever split that lot.
Mm-hmm.
What's your feelings? I'm going to make a motion that we approve the conditional use permit. There was a car dealer there before, and I understand Diane's point also, but I think if we don't allow it, it's just going to sit empty and just sit there. So this way it'll be used, and maybe that can be revisited at another time.
I would second that.
Motion and second was that
Nobach.
by motion by Gesme, second by Nobach to approve the conditional use permit for Cars Under 10K LLC. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay?
Carries 3-1. Let's move on to our next public hearing. Zach, you want to give us a background on that?
Yeah, for sure. The second item is an ordinance text amendment amending portions of our city code relating to residential treatment facilities. If you recall, a new definition was put in place that separated facilities that dealt with emotional disturbance, drugs, from actual residential facilities. The new term was coined to rehab centers, and language was added to remove them from operating in residential areas. Finally, these rehab centers were allowed and continue to be allowed in the B2 district, but there's some more conditions they have to meet for this to happen. So
at this time, I'm going to open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the ordinance 2024-01 relating to rehab centers? Second call and third call. Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and turn it over to the commission. Any discussion?
Couple just points of clarification. We have fence to be installed around the rehab center. Is that on the property line? We don't care where, or?
I didn't want to be too specific, but yeah, I mean, any fence is allowed on a property. Depends if it's a maintenance-free fence or the type of material the fence is made out of. But if it's a maintenance fence, it has to be backed off. I believe it's 2 to 5 feet, if I recall, off the property line. But any fence is allowed on the property line.
And the green belt planting strip, inside the fence, outside the fence, doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter, yeah. It's just a way to give more screening to the property from people leaving or just residents driving by. I mean, those green belts are already required anyway. It wouldn't even matter if it was a rehab center. It's required any business that abuts a residential area anyway. So this is just extra screening, if you will, given the rehab center.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the commission?
And our plan is to maybe change that section Y name in there. Under one, it refers to the rehab center. Do we care if the next one says hospital or not?
We can change that
Just-
too
yep.
to make it more clear. I think that'd probably be a good idea.
You under Y2? Is that what you're?
Yep,
Yeah.
under Y2.
And also, Zach, this has been reviewed and updated with the help of our city attorney, correct?
Yep, she looked at it. I did a lot of research actually before this, just because I know there are some questions if can we actually enforce this. A lot of other cities actually have something very similar. It's allowed via conditional use to separate it from residential areas. And under Minnesota statute 462, we are allowed to enforce local zoning laws for this residential facilities, that sort of thing. So we're well within our rights to do this. This is, yeah. But yes, our attorney Shelley did look at this, yep.
Good job.
Any discussion, or does somebody want to make a motion?
I move that we recommend for approval to the council ordinance text amendment relating to zoning of residential treatment facilities.
Second?
Are you? Motion by Johnson, second by Fox, to introduce ordinance number 2024-01, approve it and move it on to city council. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks for all your work with that, Zach. I know it's your feet were to the fire. You haven't been here that long and really pushing you hard.
Yeah, it was interesting to see other cities are getting into kind of the same thing. So there's always some sort of screening.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything else to come before the commission tonight? Any questions on anything else? If not, we know what comes next.
Move to adjourn?
I second.
Motion by Johnson, second by Nobach to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. This is adjourned.